These episodes are some of my favorite to do. Once a month, I bring on a small business owner or entrepreneur that is stuck somewhere in their business, and we talk through it and troubleshoot so they can keep going and maximize their sales and grow their business. This month, I'm excited to have Penelope Silver joining me today. She is a multi-award-winning Wellbeing coach and Reiki master from Cheshire, UK. Penelope helps successful women overcome the high internal expectations they've set for themselves and find inner peace so they can lead a balanced life. Her life's purpose is to create an everlasting web of light across the world to inspire, heal, and motivate you to be the best you can be, one soul at a time. 2.5 years ago, Penelope, a single mother of two and sole breadwinner, was fired from her new job completely out of the blue with no warnings. And she made the brave decision to start her well-being business from scratch and has taught herself everything along the way and made plenty of mistakes too. And I love that. We've all made mistakes. Own them, live them. So Penelope has a website, and she wanted to chat with me a little bit about what she could be doing to make it better, and also, how she can separate the business that she currently has with an online business that she's working on starting. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. I think you'll really enjoy it. We had great conversation. And if you want to be featured on one of these episodes, all you got to do is shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram at The First Click Marketing, or leave a comment below in the show notes of this episode at thefirstclick.net/18. But before we get into it, this episode is brought to you by our brand new 5-day challenge. We're doing an email challenge that will give you 5 ways to get more visitors to your website so that you can generate more sales and more conversions and get more people learning about your product or service. You can sign up for this challenge by going to thefirstclick.net/challenge, and it all begins on September 23rd. I hope you'll join us. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Hi guys, welcome to today's episode, and I am so thankful to have Penelope here with us. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Of course. So as you know, we bring on small business owners once a month and help them troubleshoot somewhere that they're stuck. And so Penelope, why don't you explain to us a little bit about what your business is, what you're trying to achieve, and kind of what you're hoping we can brainstorm today.
Okay, thank you. So I started my business just over 2 years ago. And when I originally started, I was a Reiki master. So I was purely doing hands-on treatments. And as my business has evolved, I've realized that, well, one, doing 40 hours of hands-on treatments a week is probably not sustainable for me, for my well-being, but also it's sort of capping my income as well. So I decided that I wanted to take my business online, but I didn't know how to do that. So over the past sort of 8 months, I've been working towards that, which I feel I'm in a position to do now. Unfortunately, my website hasn't quite caught up with that.
That's very common, very common. So with your online business, what exactly are you selling?
So I am a wellbeing coach. So I'm not a wellness coach. So I'm not a health coach. I know absolutely nothing about nutrition whatsoever. But what I do know about is the chakras. So I coach through the chakras. So we have different questions for each different chakra. And then from there, in turn, we go on to work out your life's purpose.
Awesome. And do you do that online one-on-one, or do you do it as part of a group coaching program?
It has been one-on-one so far, but the aim is to take it into group coaching.
Okay. And then I know you're based in the UK. So are you serving customers all over the world, or are you looking for kind of a more local geographic audience?
Worldwide. I have clients in Australia, America, Canada, Italy. So yeah, all over.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's super cool what you do. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have pulled up your website, and we will have a lot of this information or all of this information in the show notes for this episode. So you can check out her website and learn a little bit more about her as well. Or if you just want to pull it up so that you can see kind of the recommendations that we're making and how that might translate to your business, make sure you do that. But I know you're in the midst of potentially rebranding and completely redoing your website, right?
Yeah. So when I first started out, I built the website myself, and it's hosted with a very well-known printing company. And it was great when I originally did it, because for me, who knew nothing about websites whatsoever, and I wasn't in a position to hire anybody to build one for me, and I didn't have time to really learn how to do it properly. It was great because it's kind of drag and drop. But as I've gone on over the past couple of years, I've realized that it's actually quite restrictive for me. There's things that I can't do on there that I want to do. And when I originally started my business as well, my branding was all to do with the colours of the chakras, which are the colours of the rainbows. So it was all very bright and colourful. But I think where my business is evolving to now, I think it needs to be, dare I say it, a bit more grown up.
Yeah.
A bit more grown up, a bit more luxury brand. But I'm quite open to change. I'm not, as much as I love the chakras and the colours and things like that, I'm totally open to completely revamping it.
I think, the rebrand aside, that's definitely something you can work on separately, and really honing in on who your ideal customer is. I think what I would challenge you to do, just like you said, you're open to changing anything, making sure that your branding is in line with who you're trying to target. A lot of times, especially with personal brands, we tend to do things that we like, that make us feel good, make us feel pretty. And sometimes we are our target audience, so that works. So when you do work with somebody or kind of develop your branding, definitely challenge yourself to think about it from the perspective of who you're trying to target, so that when they land, the biggest thing we want is when people land on your website, they feel like it is them. They see themselves in the website, the language speaks to them, so that they feel already that level of, okay, this person gets me. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to your homepage, the biggest concern I have is not necessarily the design, but more so I don't know what it is that you do. And I know that this is different than what you're transitioning into. But the biggest thing you want people to see when they first look at your site before they have to scroll, so what we consider above the fold, is exactly the problem that you solve for people and why it is that you're the best person to solve that problem.
Okay.
And then after that, you can go into why you're qualified, what makes you the person that can do that. So whatever is on your header image or whatever your headline is, it needs to be something like, so I guess one other qualifying question that would be, are you the consulting that you're doing with people? Is it to teach them to be a Reiki master, or is it to teach, or is it to help people open up and understand their life purpose and, where they're headed, kind of a thing?
It's to open up and, to find their life purpose.
Okay.
But I'm not a mentor, so they have to work that, through the questioning and the work that we do together, they come to that conclusion themselves. So it's not that I am giving them the answers. And the reason why I kept Reiki Master on there was because I was mindful and maybe a bit fearful of the fact that when I obviously still, I work in a doctor's clinic as well. So I still have my hands-on patients with the Reiki in the doctor's clinic. So I was trying to combine the two, and I know that we have to niche down into one particular niche, but I was mindful that if people were going to my website, they wouldn't see the fact that I did Reiki as well.
Okay. So I would make sure that you are, the tricky piece too is that well-being coach, like you said, you're not a wellness coach, you do nutrition. So really making sure right when people hop on your website, they understand that they're there because they want to have a higher understanding of who they are and what their ultimate purpose is, right? They want that clarification, and they want to do the work. So that needs to be front and center, because you want people to do that first. And if they find out that your Reiki work is much more location specific. So I would almost recommend having that as kind of a secondary page somewhere that you have, oh, by the way, I can do, like maybe under your work with me section, you have that Reiki information. But if you're trying to market your website to a global audience, it's very different from a search visibility perspective, how you set your website up for SEO on a global scale compared to a local scale. So it's either having two separate websites and one just showcase has that they link to each other, but the bulk of your Reiki information is on a separate website. And then this new website would be specific to the work that you do online.
Yes. Now that's interesting because I had thought about that as well. So I had actually bought two domains. So I've got mine with the .co.uk and then I'd bought one with .com as well.
Mm-hmm. So maybe your PenelopeSilver.com is your Wellbeing coaching program.
Okay, perfect.
Your .co.uk would be your Reiki because that's got that location signifier in it.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Because they're very different stories, right? If I want to find somebody to do Reiki on me and I live in the UK, that's who you want to find. If I want somebody to help me really kind of open up and broaden my thinking and become a better version of myself, that's a very different thing, right? That's me doing the work and working with somebody to help me become a better version of myself versus I'm going to go to somebody who's just going to work on me, So
that actually makes it easier then, because I can keep the website the way that I've got it now, the way that it's branded for the Reiki.
Yes.
And then the coaching side, I'll sort of redo that one.
And the other thing you can do as well is where you could have on your header here on your Reiki website, you could have something that says one-on-one coaching or consulting or something, come up with language, and you could still have that link back to your other site and vice versa. So you can still use both sites to drive traffic to each other. That way, if people land on you, they can get the information they need. It's just that it's really important that when people land on anybody's website, the first thing they need to see is what it is. They need to understand right away what it is that you do and how you can help them, because we all have really short attention spans and there's so much information. And the market in every market is saturated because it's so much easier for people to get out there and get online. So what's going to set you apart is making that messaging really clear. So they do want to scroll, because ultimately you want them to go down. You want them to learn more about your programs. You want them to learn more about you and why you're unique. So I think that would be the biggest game changer for you on both sites, is really making it specific, really clear what it is that you do.
Okay. Yeah, that's great, because I had, if you would have seen my website 4 weeks ago, it was even bigger than it is now. And I have tried to sort of condense it down to make it to be more easily readable. And so kind of hidden a lot of pages as well, but there was so much information that I did have on there. And then I was trying to work out, what do I take off? What do I keep in? So I think having the two separate websites is a really great idea.
I think that's really going to help you hone in on your language. And you said something about too much information, and I wouldn't worry about too much information, especially with newer websites. Content is what's really going to help Google and other search engines understand what your website's about. So the more words, the better. But that being said, it needs to be laid out visually so that people can scan. So use of headers, using images or icons so that people can clearly, if they're scrolling, and scanning your site, which we tend to do, they can see, oh, okay, I get what this topic is about. Now I want to pause and read this section. Using links to really drive people through your website to the pages that they need to be getting to. All of those things will be really helpful, but I wouldn't be afraid of having too many words. That's not a thing. Like, you can't, it's more how you lay it out and how you create that user experience so they get the information they need. Because if on your Reiki site, for example, if you have a ton of information about what Reiki is, about how it's beneficial, about the different chakras, like all of that, and if it's all laid out really well, then you're telling search engines more about what your website's about, but B, increasing your opportunity to show up in search for different introductory terms that people might be looking for. And then they find you and get more information about it, and then trust you as the person that they want to be providing those services.
Okay. And what about, can I ask you about client testimonials? When I originally started my site, I had a whole page that was just dedicated to those. And then somebody said, no, you shouldn't do that. You should have them spread out throughout your website. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I don't think people want to go to a page and just read a bunch of testimonials. It's not going to hurt you to have it, but it's more impactful when you see the testimonial that is specific to the product that they're trying to learn about. So with your well-being coaching, for example, as you kind of grow and expand your offerings and you've got your one-on-one work, you've got your group coaching work, if I'm trying to hire you one-on-one to work with me, I want to see testimonials from people that you've worked one-on-one with on those pages. And if I'm thinking about signing up for your course, then I want to see testimonials on that page of people that have taken the course. So you're getting more bang for your buck. I mean, I know they don't cost anything, but you're getting more bang for your buck if it is right where people are thinking about making a purchase or learning about that particular product. You want them to see that testimonial right then on that sales page.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because everything we're doing is fast. We're scrolling and we're making decisions, and people need to see things 10, 12, 15 times before they really even kind of get ready to make that purchase. So having all the information easy to digest in one place is going to give you the most impact.
I think that's where I've had a block as well, because I'm the type of person who I don't read everything.
Right.
I either look at it, I look at the page, I look at probably at the person's picture, I might read a header, and I will make my decision off that, whether I'm going to buy. And then one of the things that really, really annoys me is when I have to scroll to try and find the price.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of pros and cons to the long sales page versus the short sales page. When we go through a launch, we typically have two versions. So one, the long version is kind of for our colder audience where we drive most traffic. And then the shorter version, which just has some bullet points and the ability to buy, we use for, a warmer audience, people coming off a webinar, people that are coming off a challenge, people that are already on our email list, so that we can give them information in a different format. So that's something you can test and play with. Depending on who you talk to, they say short form is better. So whatever, I would just test as you start to go through and see which converts better. That's really the best you can do, because everybody's audience is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I do also want to chat about your mailing list. So you have a subscription at the very bottom of your homepage. Are you active on email?
Yes. So what? Oh, great. You've you've highlighted my Achilles heel. So no, it's fine. I'm on it. So I think it was because, so when I originally started my business, I was really confused about the niche, because I deal with people who come for sleep problems, people who come for anxiety problems, people who are looking for their life purpose. I have cancer patients, I have fertility patients, I have children who have ADHD. These are my hands-on Reiki people. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't work out what my niche was. and I was hearing, oh, you need an opt-in, you need an opt-in, you need to be building your list. But I was like, what on earth do I offer as an opt-in? I couldn't, my brain just was not computing it at all. It was not getting creative at all. So what I have done is about a month ago, and the other thing I didn't know how to do either was, I don't mind admitting I'm not good at digital marketing. So I didn't know how to work MailChimp and how to set up an automation and one thing and another. So I've hired a VA and I recorded a guided meditation, which is going to, I've now decided will be my opt-in, because I actually use that within the Reiki treatment. So I felt that it fitted in, and it helps with sleep and anxiety as well. So that is in the process of being uploaded to the website, and it should have been done last week, but it's not. So I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that it's not there, but it is on the way.
Oh, please don't be embarrassed. You are, just the fact that you're thinking these things through and working through all this and having this conversation sets you apart from so many people. And this is a message that I really want to say to everybody, because a lot of the people in my audience feel the same way. That you can't go out and start to do stuff until you have it all perfect, or that digital marketing is just, this thing where you have to do everything or it doesn't all work. Get started, do something, and you'll start to see things start to move slowly, and then the ball will kind of pick up and keep going. And so the fact that you have this opt-in and that you're working on it and that you're taking the steps to figure out how to make it happen, don't be hard on yourself for that. You're doing awesome.
Oh, thank you.
The other, the other opt-in idea that I was thinking for the Reiki side would be, for the beginner, for people who just don't even really understand what Reiki is, it could be, 8 ways that Reiki helps support your overall health or whatever, or 8 types of ailments that Reiki is great for. So things like that too, that are a beginner level, could be helpful at some point. But I love that meditation because you're giving them immediate help, and they're getting to understand how you work. So that's fantastic.
Do you find this as well, though, that so obviously I'm 2 years down the line in my business, I find it really hard to try and put myself back at the beginning, try and think what I needed when I was first starting out. Does that make sense?
Hey, I'm right there with you. We rebranded our business a year ago and made in January of this year, and made a big switch into adding online courses and coaching into our business model. And so same thing, we had to start right back at the very beginning, working everything. And I think it's okay. It's okay for me, and it's kind of exciting for me because I'm taking everything that I've already learned and the mistakes that I've already made. And it doesn't mean that things I'm doing now are perfect by any means, but you can kind of move forward with a little bit of clarity. You're much more in tune with who you want to serve and what you want to do. And as you go out with this Wellbeing coaching program, I think you'll find that you can just settle into it a little bit differently. Right. So I wouldn't think about it as starting from the beginning. I would think, it takes 2 years in your business is not a very long time to really hone in on exactly what it is that makes you light up about your business and how you want it to work.
It changes all the time.
It does change all the time. And, I tend to compare myself to the people that are 3, 5, 10 years ahead of me sometimes, and be like, oh, well, I'm never going to get there. How come I'm not having the same success they're having? Blah, 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 blah. But, like you, I'm newer in this phase of my business. Yeah. And so I need to settle in with that and just be comfortable with it and keep doing the things that I know I need to keep doing, and trust the process and trust myself, and know that it will, if I'm genuine and authentic in what I want for my business, then, and work hard, obviously, then it will come, is kind of what I have to tell myself all the time.
Yeah. That's kind of my motto. I want to help people the way that I was helped.
Yeah, that's great. And that genuineness will come through as you start to write your copy, and as you start to get your testimonials, and as you start to do your your marketing for the well-being side. And for an opt-in for the well-being coaching, a great thing to do there, and something that a lot of people love, is a quiz. So I don't know if there's a quiz you can do to kind of, because for you, what you'll get from that is information about who the person is as well before you get started or before you potentially reach out. So a quiz could be a great opt-in lead magnet for that side of things.
Okay, that sounds terrifying. How do I actually go about doing that?
Well, there's a lot of programs like Typeform that help you pull it all together and grade and weight the results so that you can kind of give them a solution at the end. But just an idea to throw out there.
Okay, I'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
Gosh, you're really pushing me outside of my comfort zone now.
Uh-oh. Well, again,
that's how I learn.
I'm sorry?
That's how I learn.
Yeah. Well, it's when you're just starting, I also recommend not doing more than what you need to do. So getting your website up and running and having that solid will be a huge first step. And then it's okay, where's my target audience living so that I can market to them where they are? So is it email? Is it social media? Is it a podcast? Is it blogging? Whatever it is, understanding how your audience interacts with what you can do, and then adding on one thing at a time and really focusing on it. And if you have this VA that can help you with some of it, that's awesome. But don't try to do all the things at one time. I mean, really focusing on your website, getting that language crystal clear. I like when I write for websites, it helps me really hone in on then what my message is and what I say. If this program is how to help you build your own website, I need to be able to condense that down into 2 sentences to be able to really clearly say what it is that I do. And so as you write the language for your new site, it'll help condense that down for you as well. So you can really just go out and say, I do this. This is how I solve your problem. This is how I can help you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Any other specific questions you have about kind of a rebrand or, changing it out?
No, I think that's been so helpful for me because I can, and again, probably if you would have seen it a month ago, it was more geared towards the Reiki. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of taken a lot of that out to try and make it more towards wellbeing coaching, but I think I'll probably revert back and keep that website not as it was, but along those lines for the Reiki, and then sort of up level for the coaching with a new site.
I love it. I think that will clarify things for you and make it easier as you go out to market.
Well, the only other problem I've got is trying to explain what Reiki is.
So people that come to you for treatment, do they already have kind of an understanding about it? Have they been referred to you by somebody else? How do you get new clients in your practice currently?
Most of my clients come from referrals or through social media, but when they come, they say, what is Reiki? And even if they ask people who've had Reiki, they all say, I can't describe it to you. You just need to try it. And I can't really put that down as a bit of as a bit of copy on my website.
Okay, so clients that you prefer, if you were to have your dream client all day, every day, would it be people that already understand Reiki, or would it be people that you can introduce to Reiki and the benefits that it provides?
Oh, no, I love it when they've got no idea what it is.
Okay. So one thing you could maybe do is, if you have the capacity, or even just set up an iPhone. If you have a client that would allow you to videotape the session, and have that on your website so people can physically see what it looks like. Okay. I know you can't explain kind of the feeling in the emotion, or the feelings in the body and what you kind of go through, but they could at least see what it looks like. And so they walk in understanding what to expect from a session.
Okay.
I don't know what that looks like from a HIPAA, or if you're under HIPAA compliance, but I'm sure if they sign off and say it's okay, you would be fine.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the audio from the session, if you just do a background track and just put some like language at the bottom of the video that kind of explains the steps of what a treatment looks like.
Yeah.
That could be impactful.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I had done some videos of clients after they'd had a treatment explaining, sort of saying what they'd experienced, and it still wasn't really explaining it.
Right. Well, and I think some of the danger that you run into with that as well is everybody's experience is a little bit different. And like you said, everybody's coming in for a different health concern or what have you. And so making sure that people understand that everybody's experience is not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But no, I think if you can make those minor tweaks to both pages, I would love to see kind of the rebrand and what you come up with for concepts. I'm excited about kind of the well-being coaching that you are doing. I know there's a lot of people that do that, but I haven't heard about it from kind of the perspective that you're bringing to the table. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't actually know anybody else that does it the way that I do it.
That's great.
I will tell you one bit that I did have, and I'd like your feedback on it. So I was thinking with the wellbeing coaching, because my name is Silver, to use silver.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how that's going to look, or whether it would look too cold, or.
I would pull it all together and just see what it looks like, because silver doesn't have to be your main brand color. It could be a highlight color that you use.
Yeah.
So, we typically recommend between 4 and 5 colors in your palette. You're going to have your main 2 that you utilize. And a lot of times there's a lot of white space. So I would just play with different colors and logos and just see how it all works together.
Okay, perfect.
But no, I don't think it'll look too cold. I mean, that's all in how you utilize it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's been so lovely chatting with you, Penelope. And if people want to learn more about you, of course, we'll link up everything in the show notes. But how can people find more about you?
So they can via my website, and feedback is always welcome, at www.penelopesilver.co.uk. On Facebook, which I'm trying to change at the moment, but Facebook don't seem to want to change the name. I'm under Blossom Wellbeing Cheshire, which is my original business name. And on Instagram, I'm under Penelope Silver Wellbeing.
Awesome. Well, I wish you all the best of luck and can't wait to keep in touch with you as you go along this journey, so we can, maybe a month or 2 from now, share an update with everyone and unveil your brand new website. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you to Penelope again for joining me on this episode. I am so appreciative of those of you that are willing to come on and open up about your business and your struggles and what kinds of things you're going through. It really helps other small business owners to not feel so alone in the issues that they might be facing when they're building and growing their business online. And this doesn't just mean that you have an online product, but when you start to jump into the online space, it can get a little scary. So thank you again to Penelope for being here and taking in all of the information and asking all the amazing questions. Again, I will have all of the links and information in the show notes that you can check out at thefirstclick.net/18. So I hope you'll check them out there, and make sure that you subscribe wherever it is that you listen to this podcast so that you never miss an episode. We come to you every Tuesday, and I have a blast doing it. So if you want to be featured, again, just head on over to the show notes and leave me a comment, or reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram at The First Click Marketing. See you next week.